Hi, welcome to Land Alchemy, where we're going to be working with energy practices to honor, clear, and awaken lands. And today we're going to be doing calling back your own soul fragments from land. And I'm Camila Blossom. I'm a land alchemist, and I'm really excited to be here. And I'd like to introduce Aliza and BZ, and they've just completed my land alchemy course, and they are beautiful land alchemists in their own right. So I'm really excited to have them join me and share this meditation, this journey, this practice, and help your land, help all the lands with how we can awaken them, how we can bring more light, more opening, more awakening and clearing to places. So welcome. And I will be guiding us through a meditation shortly, but I'll share first a little about why you would want to do this exercise, this practice, how it can benefit you and land, and also some kind of stories of how I kind of developed this. And so I also, for those who like to use a pendulum, you can use a pendulum. It's a way to tune in when we do the practice to the clearing, but you don't have to. I'll be guiding us through it. Great. So I'd like to give a few minutes and have Aliza and first, and then BZ share a little bit about themselves, and then we'll move into the process. Thank you.
Thanks, Camila. I'm Aliza Muslea. I live in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. I've been working with a beautiful piece of land that's multidimensional. It's on a mountain, so it has lots of layers and levels and portals. I've been especially connecting with the dragons, the gnomes, and the fairies, creating a piece of heaven on earth. I'm intimately connected with my land, creating oils, tinctures, and flower essences, specifically from what grows here. Communication, acknowledgement, and co-creation with, and gratitude for the spirits of the land is key in how I work with my own land and others. I use color, crystals, and sound in my land healing. My intention is always to create land that is in harmony, balance, and joy, and at the same time, flowing those same energies out into the entire planet so that it too is in complete harmony, balance, and joy.
Thank you. Beautiful. Easy.
Thanks for having me, Camila and Aliza. Nice to be here. I'm BZ Rieger, and I'm living right now in the Pacific Northwest, and I've been working on a big piece of land I'd have the wonderful opportunity to be kind of a steward of, with the energies connecting and balancing with the people and the function of the land that's going on. I do mine from a heart-connected, heart, soul, and self basis, bringing in the elementals and the land council and all of that. One of the things I've been called to come to do now is to travel a bit through Gaia and be called to different places in the land, different lands, where people are awakening and the land is in its process of awakening and healing. So a bridge, a linear ground bridge of the rainbow bridge for all the transformation that we're going through. And I do that through a variety of processes, but bring in my sensory array, which is all of my etheric gifts and instruments, and the land will actually show me videos of what it needs healing with, or what it wants to have there, or how to balance with the beings. So just playing with all of the tools and seeing what comes up.
Wonderful. It's been such a pleasure working with both of you in land alchemy. And just to say a little more about myself, I'm in Vancouver, Washington, so also in the Pacific Northwest. And been having such a wonderful time sharing practices, energetic practices, working with light and energy and color and a lot of these shamanic type practices. And also really knowing that we are in co-creation with the different land councils. And these are the fairies and the gnomes and the elementals and the trees and the plants and the crystals. So this work really can't be done unless we do that in co-creation with all of these beings. And so I just love working in community as well, because we can all bring different beautiful pieces to it. And so that's why I really wanted to share this as a group, because there's so many different ways, unique ways that each of us have a gift that when we can bring it forward and share that on the land and Gaia and all the elementals feel that, and they know that, and they awaken and they dance with us. And it just brings so much healing and restoration and renewal to the energy of the planet. And as we know, energy is where everything starts. So all right, so we're going to get into the land ritual we're going to do today, which is calling back your own soul fragments from land. And I think I'll start with a story. This came in as a really important practice when I was living on 100 acres outside of Hood River, Oregon. And I had invited a shamanic practitioner friend to come visit. We were going to teach together. And so she showed up on the land, and we went down, and I showed her this area that had it's almost like along a ley line. It was, you walked across and the energy just felt horrible. And so I was really trying to piece together. It was new at this, like, how can I assist, what this funky energy, what we can do with it? How can we move this energy? And so she came down and was tuning in, and she realized, like, oh my gosh, like there's an aspect of me here. And she was from like some other state. It felt very random, but she was called to this land. And so we did a little meditation, and she called back this aspect of herself. It was like from a soul lineage or something. And all right away, the land, like, it felt better. Like she had gathered up what was hers. And then she said, oh, there's another person's energy. He was a man who had done events there just recently, just previously. And so we called him up, and I asked if he could clear the land as well. Like, we just felt like there's remnants of the energy, and, he was really involved with this land and doing an event. And he's like, sure. So he did that. And then after he did it, like, oh my gosh, this area just felt another level better. And the only thing left was that I needed to work with Mother Earth. And it ended up being kind of another story, but the brief story is she wanted pineapple flower essence. And so that's what I put along the ley line. And after doing that, the whole energy, it just became really beautiful. So that's kind of the story of how I felt this practice, and it's part of my land alchemy course teachings, is that it's important for us to have energetic hygiene for how we work with land. So let's say somewhere we grew up, somewhere we visited, a place we lived that we had trauma or struggled, like it was really hard there. Places where we loved it so much we didn't ever want to leave. We might have attachments still. It could even relate to ancestral homelands or star homelands, like planets come from in that more multidimensional view. But for now, we're going to be looking with a lot of compassion and love at any soul fragments, aspects, cords, attachments, any kind of energetic connection as a soul that we may have to any place on the earth. And the intention here is that we're going to call those back. We're going to gather them from those lands and bring them home. And in a sense, this is a soul retrieval. But I want to kind of approach this with a lot of love and compassion, as I say, because for some of us, if we had a really hard experience or even a traumatic, violent experience somewhere, and you call back that aspect of yourself, that might be a very intense thing to do. So if you're not ready to do that, please don't. Just ask for other kinds of energies to return. But if you feel that you have the tools and are ready and have the support, you can call that back. We're going to call this all back to our hearts. But I also have the option that if you call this piece back and it wants to come to your soul and you're not ready to integrate that and bring it back to you, that's fine. Just really support yourself in this, because this is can be a big process for some people. And also, once this soul aspect returns, it may be very gentle. For a lot of you, it may just very gently, oh, wow, I could feel something. But for some, it could stir up some memories, even happy memories. So I just invite you to, just stay in that place of presence, receptivity. I'll kind of go through a little process to ground you and get you ready. And then Aliza is going to share beautiful sound healing to help us integrate, bring that back. And it's really to have an experience. And if for the first time you want to just listen and see what it's all about, feel free to do that as well. All right. So I think that was the main things, just to be super gentle. And also to know that, just briefly, one of the other practices I do, and I did this with BZ and Aliza, of working with land to call back other people's energies and attachments and that kind of thing, and to send it back to them. And that was really powerful. And I do that quite a bit as well. But it felt like we really wanted to focus on like how we can be more, take more care and steward and clean up what we may have left on the land. And that allows land, places we've lived, places in the world, to really release what it is that they don't need anymore. And that can really be a support to land as well. All right, so before we go into the meditation, I just want to check in with both of you if there's anything else you want to add.
The only thing that comes to me right this moment was this beautiful internal video of how when myself and others are doing this and calling it back, there's a reintegration and a holding, and you're the, we are the deciders, the scripters of how this works. So we can, as you say, bring in, all or a little, or even bring something back so it's removed from the land, and we can just hold it in a sacred space for that. But it's a holding of both the land and ourselves, because we're all different. We're going through expansion of the land and ourselves, and so it's an octave raising practice for both the land and ourselves, and brings energy forward. That was just what I saw.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, and that reminds me, a really important point is that we're calling back this energy to us, but if there's anything we don't need, we're going to be releasing it. And so there may be that the 90% of it is just, emotional energy that just can transform and be transmuted. So I'm glad you shared that, BZ. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to just emphasize the sound part of it. It's very soothing and helpful in many ways. Sound will break up what we don't need and will help us integrate what we do want to integrate. And it almost is like the body is listening to the sound and bringing those fragments back with the sound. It's like carried on the sound back into the center of our being. So something to pay attention to as we're going.
Thank you. Thank you for offering that. It's such a beautiful part of this vibrational work, right? This work is vibrational. It's about energy. It's about energy medicine. So these subtle ways we are super powerful. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of preparation kind of to help us move into the space. And then I'm just going to be moving us through a kind of guided process that will be I statements. And so as I say them, just invite you to say them to yourself as well. And then allow, and after I do that, Aliza will begin the sound work. And so it may be during the statements and in the meditation or during the sound, just allow whatever kind of wants to happen in this sacred space. We're going to be creating sacred space for this. Okay. Right. So I'd like to just ask you to ground now, and you can bring your attention inward. I'm going to start by making an offering, and this is on all of our behalf. And this is an offering to beautiful spirit of Gaia, to the elementals, the fairies, the land councils, all those beings of nature, your own personal guides, Divine Mother, all who you feel is holy, Gaia, Pan, the sacred spirits of Gaia. And I'd like to ask permission to do this work together, do this work for the land, do this work with each other, do this work on behalf of the beautiful spirits of places and lands and the ancestors. Thank you. Feel a lot of energy and permission. And I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. And this is to acknowledge, I have some tobacco here. I wish to acknowledge in Vancouver, Washington, the Cowlitz, Chinook, and Yakima tribes and any other tribes that have lived here and stewarded the land through generations. Wish to honor you, thank you, and acknowledge you. And if you know the tribes in your area, please just hold that energy for them. Feel free to give an offering as well. And I'd like to set intention that we create a sacred space for this healing, this work, this land ritual practice, in order that we really honor the lands of Gaia, of the Mother Earth, that we honor ourselves, our souls, that we bring ourselves back to wholeness in as gentle and kind way as we can. And that whatever you need in the way of support, that you receive that, whether that's from the spirit realms, for physically, or from nature itself. Thank you. And so I wish to open sacred space for each one of us, and also open the sacred space for the ceremony, and just invite those fairies, elementals, dragons, gnomes, plant, mineral, animal kingdoms, the guides from each of the directions, above and below, Source, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Mother Gaia, and all those sacred beings that you work with yourself. And set sacred space with 4 pillars of light around us to keep this energy clear and pure and full of light. Thank you. And if you bring your attention to your heart center, and connect with your heart. Bring your energy to your heart and to your divine self. And just take a few deep breaths, connecting with that love for yourself, that divine self that you are, that radiant spirit. And allow that consciousness of your radiant spirit to radiate out in all directions. Take up some space, open your creativity, your sacred space. And allow yourself to fill with the energy of love, beauty, and truth. And if there's any energy that you need to clear, you're welcome to use pendulum or just hold that intention to clear any energy that is not needed at this time, that is not yours, or it is not supportive to this process. And then grounding your body into the crystalline grid of Mother Earth through your nervous system, and ground through your feet as tree roots or crystalline energy into the core of Mother Earth. Really connect with her nourishment and beauty, and allow that earth energy to rise up in your feet and fill your body. And source energy from above to come down into your body and mix with the earth energy and continue to radiate that. Beautiful. So I invite you to feel the safety of this sacred space and the light of your spirit and your divine self. And we'll be opening to calling back any soul fragments or energies, attachments, and anything that is on land that needs to come home. So as I speak these statements, just hold them as your own as well. I wish to create an energetic connection with my beneficial spirit guides, my land council, which is all those beautiful spirits of land, and my divine self. And asking a question, are any of my own energies, emotions, thought forms, emotional attachments, energetic cords, imprints, soul fragments, or any aspect of myself still present on any land? And if you receive a yes or you're not sure, you can continue the process. If you receive a no, you can just learn about the process and be present to support others. So I ask you now to connect to these lands. You're welcome to do this either one at a time, the furthest one back to start with, or you can connect with all of them at once. Connect with these lands and their elementals and the councils of beings there. And to know these land council members are here to support this process, to support you to love you, to help you, to honor you. So just receive this connection. And for this first land, for all these lands, I request that any energy that needs to be returned to me, please come back with love and compassion now. I allow these energies to be gently integrated with ease back into my heart, energy field, and soul, or given to my spirit guides for safekeeping. And any energies I no longer need, please release them off the land to the dragons, the sun, or the core of Mother Earth for transmutation. Thank you. I would like to invite Aliza to begin the sound and just allow yourself to hold these statements and allow this process. So move back into connection with your divine self and allow yourself to feel what you feel, to open to any sense of vulnerability, to open to the mermaids. They came in for this process with us. Show you the mermaid card. And so much of this emotional work can be supported by these water elementals. So just invite in any special guides, spirits that can support you in this process, help you integrate, help you receive, and flow with that energy as you release the old. And so much of this is to recognize we're releasing. You have permission to release. You are destined to release the old 3D stories of struggle and pain and disconnection and sadness from these lands and from our bodies, so that we can bring our hearts into that state of love and grace. And new stories. It's all about creating new stories. I'd like to open it up to if Aliza or BZ were wants to share anything coming up for them or anything to add.
I just wanted to share the video that came in. It was multi-part. Part was for myself and what I was seeing coming back, and the other was whenever we do an energetic envelope, people can come in at the moment that we're doing it, and then in real time they'll watch it, in a slightly later time. And what I was seeing was this beautiful honoring and cherishing between we as humans and the land, and really pulling off the old things, calling them back, but as they came in this effervescent color stream from the different places back to me, back to others, there was this transmutation and reconfiguration, and much went up, into a higher etheric form to just be reconfigured into what I call the soup of source. So back into pure non-physical energy to then be created again. And the other parts came in, but they came in when they met me now, or the other beings now, through an alchemical process into each being, so that there was a match of what was whole and complete, what could be brought into the new place that each being has stepped in. And the very act of doing this lets the lands and the being come up to a higher octave. So that was just the whole video. It was very beautiful.
Beautiful. I love that with the colors, the seeing, because that's often how I would see it when I did this with people that loved land so much and I was helping their energy go back. I saw as waves of color waves, or color, that were very beautiful. Like they love the land so much, but they got to have that color back and reconfigure and release the attachment. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, the beauty of this.
So I just very, very simply felt the sweet song of harmony coming home. That's about it. It just felt very sweet, and it wasn't one of those things where you do a soul retrieval and it's a whole difficult thing. This was just very sweet coming back home.
Nice. And that's actually not a just, that's huge, right? Right? That's like the point.
Yeah.
But I had something kind of came in when you said that too, like that sweet, like as soon as we started doing that, I just felt this vulnerability and sweetness and softening of my heart, and that oh my God, I love the land so much. And I love all the places I've lived, and Gaia herself, and places I've visited and done, work there, like land alchemy, connecting. And it's just like, oh, it really brings out that love, like how much love we have. And also that some of these places might have fairies or elementals that wanted to come back to us, right? So it may not just be like part of the return of the soul, or whatever aspects it may be that we worked with certain beings. And I've had that happen with a house moving project where the energy felt horrible, and it turned out the little girl that and their family that moved out, I needed to help them, or they needed to have these fairies and house spirits come to their new house with them. And as soon as we did that, the house was like, felt wonderful again. So I believe there's lineages, right? And these different lands have different beings. And so when we leave land, we may, say goodbye to quite a few, but there's others that may be part of our world and want to travel with us or come to our new place. They become a real part, or even our ancestry, and they want to come back. So
that sweetness that you were mentioning the ease, unlike needing to be a difficult soul retrieval, because for me, when I'm seeing the container set and the heart-based intention of it, it's there. Since everything is love and there is ease and grace, we can choose that and step into that. It's not any less powerful. In fact, it's more powerful, because only what is being called back that wants to rise into the higher octave will enter in. And in that process, everything is raised into that space. So it's a directive and a collective action of being in the new space, not just taking old and putting it back in the old space. So
yeah, totally.
Which is sweet.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for mentioning that too. I noticed that even the last land alchemy job that I did in Portland, Oregon, it just felt like this new energy, like ever since this equinox. It just feels like there's been this massive rebirthing of Gaia into this new earth energy. And so it can be done much differently and in an easier way, in a very gentle, graceful way, even if there's, really intense situations with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also the realization that as you're talking, both of you, things pop up. But just the realization that Gaia is holding us, even if there are things that are happening in our lives in the past, on whatever land we've been on, that haven't been so pleasant. Gaia is still holding us in that supportive, beautiful way that she is. And so that's what we're bringing back.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the rest is just a mental construct from the distortion that we hold, that we aren't of that higher light, that we are somehow disconnected. And so
that we're
release
broken.
that. Yeah. So if we release that, it can be ease and sweet and super consciously delicious.
Yeah. So in a sense, this is to see and recognize our wholeness.
Yes.
Already.
Yeah. And honor Gaia for all that in holding us there and continuing to bring that forward. Yeah. Right. And it sets a field where it transmutes those different places. It's almost like it's a magic elixir. When other people step on the land, whatever they're choosing next for the highest octave will flow with more ease.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that was beautiful. And I think what I'll do is close the circle, and then after that, we'll give a little chance for anything else that bubbles up, and any sharing of kind of everyone's work, what they're up to. All right. So just to take a moment and connect back with your heart center, I wish to thank all of you. Thank Aliza and BZ, excuse me, and all of you who have joined us in this beautiful, sweet experience with Gaia. Thank all the elementals, sacred spirits of Gaia, the trees, the plants, the crystals, wildlife, all the spirit helpers and guides, dragons, the mermaids, and to continue any healing process that each person needs for themselves and receive the support and love and compassion that you need. I like to release the circle back to perfect place and release this container. Phoenix it. Thank you, thank you. So it is.
And so it is.
All right, I love these insights. And one thing that's so interesting to me with this land alchemy work, and I know you two can totally relate because we've been in this cycle for a while here and shared a lot, is how much things are changing and awakening and paradigm shifting. So even when we learn these practices, like there might be a whole different nuance that comes forward about what we're really doing here or what's shifting here. But it is kind of a bridge, even though some of these practices that I pulled together to create a course, like many of them are very relevant, but also I'm seeing how there's this beautiful opening that we're all going through, this evolution, this ascension process that Mother Earth is going through, that it's really important to hold space in a very sweet way to the wholeness, right? To that. And for many years, I've been doing this work and I've been asking for, like, what is this land alchemy process? What is the alchemical process of doing this kind of work? And not so much from fixing or healing or improving, but from this new paradigm. And finally, just this year, I was given these 4 words. And now I'm getting a space on what they are. On the spot here. Initiation or invitation is the first word. So that's like opening the doorway and walking in. The next word is presence and the importance of just showing up with love and presence. That's the power. The third word is co-creation, and it's a lot about taking action from, or co-creating in that way of letting this birth and energy move through you. And in that way, being guided to action that comes from our true creation center. And then the last one is transformation. And that to me is the natural alchemical process of turning lead or the old energy into gold. And that just happens through this process. To me, it's a very feminine, natural process that doesn't require efforting or striving or fixing. So yeah, so I just want to share a little about that as sort of the basis for my land alchemy course that is going to be online starting April in 2022 as a self-study guided course, and also doing other events with land alchemy. So I'm really excited to share that and other offerings as well, like the flower essences is an important tool working with land and ourselves, and working with grandmothers and a lot of different sacred spirits of Gaia love to be part of this work. we really couldn't do it without them, with all these beings, these spiritual beings. And really, it's all based on the idea, which if you're an energy medicine person, or understand that everything comes from energy, that if we work on everything starting with energy, starting with ourselves, then that is how we change the physical world. So in a sense, we're visionaries, dreaming in for ourselves and the earth and the land. And that's what land alchemy work is. It's really being the visionaries, holding the presence for creating this new world. And I love how Aliza expresses that through the sound, like creating that magic through that beautiful sound and the light codes, and BZ's seeing those visions. Like we all have different ways, but I'd love to open it up and have BZ, if you want to share first, and then Aliza, anything more that you'd like to share?
Yeah, one of the things I feel is really wonderful, in the different studying with you, and they're living practices, not only with the land alchemy, but the other things that I'm doing in my business. And the living practices come in through me, through my soul. So I take what someone else has brought forward and how I've met with that and how I've learned that wisdom and those practices. And the ones that are a fit for me, like the land alchemy, it then comes into me. So I'm bringing it for what I'm here to do, and bringing it to a maybe a focused area or a section of it, and then my magic meets the magic of the training and what's gone on before and what is there in a living container. And now I've made it, the BZ container of what magic I can bring. And when I meet with different clients or as I'm working on different things, same thing, that there are cohesive structures of energy and expansion that go through to help people with the different things that they're wanting to work on. And that's feels to me very powerful and very magical, because it isn't in the old way of, set rules, containerized, right? Yet it can be a really strong foundational balance between the energetic and the actionable and tangible, because the out there that we see doesn't get out there until we put it out there. And so currently what we're seeing out there is the leftover and the shifting of what, in whatever energy we were in, put out there. And now we can bring in the new. So we're changing our frame, as you say, our frame of reference and our paradigm into realizing that energy is there first. It's not a new thing. It always was the case. And now we can work with it from ourselves and intentionally co-create what we're putting out there. So it's a very powerful step. I think everybody is now, in a joyful, expansive way, waking up to.
Thank you. Well said.
Yeah, I was feeling much of that, especially the first part of what you said. That this is Camilla's course that she brought through the land alchemy, and in being in so much allowance in her beautiful way for other people's ways of being with it. It creates yet another level of alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's alchemy upon alchemy. And it's all about, I've been working on people for years, with people, not on people, with people for years, and with the intention of returning them to wholeness. And this is just an extension of that, returning the earth and the elements and the elementals and, you know, everything about this planet back to wholeness. So, you know, that is the ultimate joy. And I, for one, am very grateful for this course and where it's taken me, where it's taken us, because the three of us together were absolutely fabulous.
Lots of magic, yes.
Yes, I'm really excited. And yeah, we had a bigger circle the first round, and then a couple of I feel you both have such mastery in your own way. So I feel very humbled and grateful to use that alchemical process together and see how in community we can really expand so much more than, you know, I mean, we all have gifts and we can do lots of things on our own, but there is this importance. So I'm just really blessed to work with both of you and do this process and continue on. We'll see where it takes us.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you. So I'd like to just close up and thank you both so much. Thank everyone who joined us, and feel free. We'll have some information in the description for learning more about each one of us and the work we're doing and how to contact us. And feel free to reach out and connect. Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Thank you.